Hi there, YouTube viewers. It is Jen Simon talking to you at Frappanaise. Today I want to talk to you about slicing vegetables, which is probably not the most interesting thing you've ever heard about, but I find it fascinating because for many years I used a Cuisinart to do this. The reason why is because I grew up with a Cuisinart, and the Cuisinart, if you don't know, is a food processor that has a base that is a motor basically, and you put a bowl on top of it, and then you can either chop things up inside the bowl or you can put blades on and it whirs around and it either slices or shreds. My mom had one, and so when I became a grown-up I got one, and as far as I knew that's how you shredded or sliced your vegetables. But then the other day I was at a place called Daiso, which is a Japanese dollar store. Everything at Daiso cost $1.50, and I happened to see this, and it was just too fascinating not to buy. The reason is this claims to do 5 different things. It will peel vegetables with one blade. It will shred things like carrots with this blade. It will kind of mince or grind garlic or ginger with this blade. It will slice vegetables, and it will chop. And anything that claimed to be able to do 5 things for $1.50 just was worth my money, and I needed to try it out. I will say this, the vegetable peeler is not as effective as the vegetable peeler that I have. I have one of the OXO ones, which is like a European style vegetable peeler, and it works very, very well. But I went camping recently and I took this, camping, we stayed in a cabin, but we stayed in a cabin and they had a vegetable peeler in the cabin, and this one actually worked better than their vegetable peeler. So it might not be a perfect peeler, but it does peel better than some. As for the shredding blade, it works okay. It takes a bit of elbow grease, but both of the shredding blades work okay. The chopper is amazing. This chopper is great. I never would have thought to own a chopper, but if you're making egg salad or chicken salad, something that you have to kind of chop things into pieces, this works way better than you would imagine it would work. My favorite thing about this though is the blade. I don't know why I have never seen this before in my entire life, but look. Hear the sound of that? It is the sound of onions being cut into the tiniest slices. You can fry these onions in like 5 minutes. I used to do onion frying, and it would take like 20 minutes to get all the way through the onions, but not with this thing. Plus, you can take other vegetables, you can slice them really thin, and then if you fry them with onions or potatoes, your kids might not even notice them because they're sliced wafer thin as a wafer. Now, this is great for slicing, but if you're slicing something like a carrot or sometimes potatoes, like sweet potatoes where they're really firm, this isn't quite sharp enough. So I was at Daiso another day and I picked up yet another slicer. In part because all it claimed to do really is slice, and I thought maybe if it only sliced, it might slice a bit better. Also because it only cost $1.50, so I thought for $1.50, you know, how can you go wrong? I will say that the slicing blade on this is even better than the slicing blade on the other. If anything, they come out even thinner, but if I'm slicing something like sweet potato, it's a lot easier. And because it's a lot easier, you cut yourself less. I think a big reason these are not popular in the United States is because you need to use a little bit of brain power. It is really easy to chop off a tiny bit of your finger or your fingernail using these. So when you get to the very end of the carrot, you need to just stop. You know what? Sometimes you don't get to slice the very end of that carrot, and that needs to be okay, and you need to be an adult to make that decision. This one, another benefit of it is it had this guard thing that you could slide on, and I thought maybe this would be useful. The idea behind the guard was that you could slice garlic with it, and you were supposed to get the garlic under the guard, but I like garlic that's like this size. There's no way the garlic is getting under this guard, so I don't find the guard useful, but it slices garlic perfectly fine. The other thing that I found at Daiso is that you can actually buy a finger protector. My guess is there exists better finger protectors. This one cost $1.50. I have not mastered its use yet, but you can use it to slice, and I think it would protect your fingers if you got the hang of using it. It might take a little extra work. If you really want to chop a piece of garlic really fine though, because you do run out of space with garlic, what I suggest is you use a method that my uncle taught me, where you hold the knife and you go like this. You probably can't see me doing that, and it's probably bouncing all over the place. But if you chop your garlic like this, you can get it very fine without a slicer or a grinder or any other thing. So that's my message for today. I highly suggest you get a slicer. If you get one on Amazon, it probably costs about $27, which is laughable considering I got mine for $1.50. But it's still quite a deal because you'll be able to slice anything you want to slice. And this was a big learning experience for me, because sometimes in the modern world, we get so used to a new technology that we forget how to use an old technology. And that's what happened to me with the Cuisinart. It was a space age new thing that I think was really popular in the 70s. It was a machine that did everything by electricity. And I was convinced that that was the only way to do things. I didn't even understand that you could find a simple slicer like this really cheaply and just slice things by hand. Kind of like washing clothes. I always assumed that you had to wash your clothes in a clothes washer until I went to Mexico and found a sink specifically for hand washing. And I was like, you know what? Hand washing is really not that hard. So I think sometimes it's important in the modern world to consider that there might be a simpler way to do things, probably a lower tech way of doing things, and using a hand slicer is definitely one of those simple low tech things. I highly recommend you go find one. Thank you for listening today, Frappanese watchers. If you would like to follow me, please click the link below to subscribe to my channel. See you next week. Bye.